Hello, this is Tabletop Time, and I'm Murray, painter of small, tiny plastic people. Infinity, the game, has always been on my radar, but I have never committed into getting into it. Really, the only thing that's held me back from starting to collect Infinity is the fact that I like a lot of the individual models from all the factions, so I've never really settled on a single one. Until now. This is an action pack, and this is what I've chosen, because in this box, we have a whole lot of models, and I like every single one. Also, there's a big mecha dragon in it. That didn't influence me at all. It's shiny! There we are. This box has a bunch of stuff that I really like the aesthetic of. You've got a bunch of soldiers and forces and guards and what have you, as well as a cyber assassin who's got a compound bow, which is kind of badass in the future. You've got a little robot with sort of wings and a little underslung gun, sort of like a little drone. That's cool. But of course, the focus here is the Bayara guard and the Shiwen, which I have probably butchered, but basically it's a dragon gargoyle. It's a big robotic dragon. It looks extremely cool. I can't wait to paint it up with all the different armor panels and designs on it. And it's going to be the focus of this video and my particular tism. So strap in. It's time to open this bad boy. All right, so I have gotten all the little parts for my two little troopers in particular. They go together pretty easily. There's a nice thing about some of the older white metal models in general, in that if they don't quite line up, you can just sort of jimmy them into position. They'll bend quite nicely, just slightly, but they're a bit more forgiving than some plastic and resins. So I've got those laid out, and now I have the bases. Now, Infinity bases are interesting because they have set faces on them. This is directly forwards. This is where the model is facing. It's the orientation, because, you know, you can sneak up behind people and beat them over the back of the head like in Halo, I don't know. So you need to keep that in mind when you're placing the model down on the base. So I have all the models in separate parts. I've got the Royal Guard over here, and I'll have the Dragon over here. I'm gonna mount them on separate bases so I can paint them individually. And then I have the base, which I'm going to dress up separately. So let's begin. Now, I believe that the secret to making sci-fi bases is variance. And I mean that not in particular textures, which can help, but I mean in panel lines. Just like you see panel lines on Space Marine armor and on the sides of tanks and spaceships, like an Imperial Star Destroyer from Star Wars. So what I have here is a couple of pieces of plasticard, and they are of different thicknesses. That'll also give a bit of variation in elevation, whether it's like a street curb or just a different material. You just get a little bit of variance. You can also build it up, but you also want to do those panel scribes. I've divided the entire base up into one big chunk, and that's actually going to be towards the back because I want the base to be built up more towards the back, so you get that nice sort of a theater stage appearance when you're looking at the model from the golden angle. And then I'm gonna start dividing the existing area with a smaller, thinner piece of plasticard down here. I might even actually run like a little bit of guttering or something here. Maybe this is part of a street. Start to create a bit more nuance in your design, and then you start doing a bit more storytelling. Like I just suddenly decided I have a gutter there. It's a street. And then you can sort of build upon the design aesthetic of your characters from there, whether you have a railing, electrical cabling, and some runners here with the sort of hazard stripes on it. It's a bit more of an industrial area. You can go absolutely wild with this sort of thing. I'm thinking sort of a wide open area here for my troopers. They're going down like a main causeway in a city here, as opposed to like a cyberpunk, dark, narrow, cramped alley. And you can immediately see I'm starting to build something from what is just a single piece of plasticard already. And that's my little building hack for how to create bases. Of course, you can start doing different textures and make it more grimy, and it's perfect for your grim dark fantasy as well. And there we have it. We have a really nice futuristic courtyard piece. I think this has turned out really, really nice, and it's given me lots to play with all the other characters within this squad that I'll eventually build. But for now, that's done, and that can get painted. Ta-da! After our extremely successful crowdfunder that was the Kindred of the Abyss, and IP that we at Tabletop Time have created ourselves, we are excited to declare that this month we are releasing the Sisters of the Old Blood. Imagine Van Helsing, but they're women and they hunt monsters in the dark, but they are also vampires themselves, basically. It's super cool, really moody, fox hunting for the supernatural sort of vibe. They've been sculpted by the talent of Patrick Keith over at Bombshell Minis. These are exquisite models, elegant dresses, fascinators, and mourning veils, as well as some super creepy heavy armor. armor, this is the way to support us and our channel. We are making miniatures because it is what we have always aspired to do, and this is how we are able to fulfill both our dreams and also make a living in this world that we're currently living in. So if you like what we make, if you like us for some reason, or if you just want to get your hands on some cool minis, go check it out. To start off with, I'm going to base coat this Durasteel dragon in pure black. As a lot of the model is going to be really dark metallics and such, I'm going to use this to my advantage and make sure that I have black in all the recesses. I'm going to start painting all the brighter metal parts with a blue-grey. It's actually been a long time since I've last used box art as my inspiration for painting an army, and I'm really enjoying this. But I don't want to get too carried away and finish painting an entire material to completion, as I'm going to get pretty messy painting the really bright armor panels. And so once I'm done with all the grey, I'm going to start painting in the ultimate undercoat color for any orange or yellow, magenta. This is going to allow me to have an extremely vibrant final color, as I'm going to paint orange directly over this. A clean coat of magenta onto this tungsten terra has allowed me to go straight in with a single coat of orange, getting this almost luminescent vibrance from the color, and really allowing me to have some awesome saturation. But as you can see, I'm going to spend the time painting all the metal parts, as these are mostly underneath all the armor panels, and it's going to be a pain in the ass to reach them afterwards. So I'm just going to make my way around the model and highlight all of the metal parts to make them look extra shiny by adding ivory onto my original dark metal blue bases. I'm going to have two different types of metals on these models. I want a really dark one, and then a much brighter silver that almost looks a bit plasticky. This is going to be more of the offset paneling to complement all the orange panels, as opposed to the dark metals, which is going to make up all the recesses and give it that really nice dark contrast. Then it's time to get stuck into the orange. I'm going to make sure that I have a really nice solid coat on every single armor panel, and then I'm immediately going to launch in by adding just a little bit of the orange into pure yellow, and then paint that straight on. I'm going to start off by painting lines straight down the back of the dragon, specifically in the areas where I think the most shine is going to be. This takes some practice and following some references, but it's going to be the basis of the non-metallic metal style that I'm going to go with here. That way, even though I'm not using any metallic paints, I'm going to make the dragon look like it's made purely of metal. Then it's simply a matter of making my way over every single armor panel here and painting them individually with their own shades and highlight points. I'll continue this, changing my ratio of paints until I get up to pure yellow, which is going to be a strong highlight on all the panels. And then I'm going to swap to a pure ivory, and this is going to be the special sauce that allows me to get that special shine on all of the panels, pretty much highlighting every single angle. And I can't forget to paint in some scratches on the armor as well, as that really helps sell the effect that this is metal. Then for the final step, it's time to paint in all the glowy parts. I do this by filling in all the little recesses and eyes using titanium white. Then I'm going to glaze over a really vibrant green, making sure that I spill over the edges a bit, which will give the impression that the green glow is emanating out from this area. And there you have it, that's how you paint Shio Wen's dragon gargoyle. I just realized a contradiction. I just exclaimed my love for sci-fi and then chose a faction because it had a dragon. And I see no issue with this. And oh my gosh, Murray, you've explained how to paint yellow or orange onto magenta. I've only seen that in every video ever. Well, first of all, yeah, that is the secret to painting yellow and orange. It is color theory, but getting this otherwise takes a lot of coats, and you get a real luster if you paint onto pink magenta, as opposed to any other color like brown and just black. If you paint onto that, you'll just get this very washed out browny color. So you know what? Let's lead with example. I'll show exactly what my orange looks like painted over magenta here. All right, here, one coat, blush. And you see, that's a really nice smooth coat. And then if I just paint his bum, same amount of paint, oh goodness, it's, look at that, it's gone a bit streaky, and like, it's okay, it's pretty damn patchy, thanks to modern pigmentation. But that's gonna take quite a few coats, and that just took one of magenta and then orange straight over. You see, it's just gone a bit desaturated. It's very murky and brown and gross, which if you're going for a grim dark feel, maybe it's fine. All of this can be fixed with multiple coats, but it's all down to how much time you want to invest into this. This is why people use airbrushes for this sort of thing. It's very fast, you get a really nice gradient, and you can do a whole army like this. Everything you want to do can be achieved with brush. It just depends how much time you want to put into it. Even learning how to do it and building your experience and talent in doing such, it just takes time. But hopefully through showing you how to just simply do this with a brush, we can maybe convince you to take a chance and try it out for yourself. Anyway, let's get the rest of this painted. So you've heard me talk about the Yuxing faction, which I'm starting to collect for Infinity, my dive into the world. You might be interested to know about the rest of the world. So this is a more futuristic world. Humanity is explored out into multiple worlds. They've got colonies everywhere. For example, the Yuxing are a melting pot of Asian cultures, Korea, China, Vietnam, Mongolia, all made together into one. Ariadna, another faction, is American, French, Russian, and Scottish cultures. So if you want something just a little bit different, a little extra taste on there, hopefully this video is making you go, ooh, they actually have an essentials kit, which I would be remiss not to mention. This is sort of your strike team, kill team, sort of small scale skirmish, but with a lot more crunch and competitive feel to all of its rules. So if that sounds like it's up your alley, maybe give it a shot. So big shout out and thank you for Corvus Belli for sponsoring this entire channel. They've been awesome to work with. They're really cool guys and they're making some sweet games. And anyway, back to the painting. All right. We've finished painting the two models. Now it's time to start painting their base. And you can see from the box art here that they're already on this sort of a concrete tiled area, which is very similar to the sort of design that I've come up with, but this looks a bit more concretey. I want to go for more the vibes of like a elegant futuristic starship, big smooth metal panel sort of thing. I want that for the floor for this courtyard. I'm gonna paint this, ooh, sort of not quite that metal gray that I've already painted these models with. I'm gonna have a bit more nuance to that, a slightly different hue, so it stands out a bit more. So let's start painting that. So now that I've described to you that I want this really classy, elegant, sci-fi, crisp and futuristic metallic paving that you might see in concept art, my first thing to do is to go and start mixing red and green together and just mussing that around on the base. This might seem completely contradictory to what I was describing, but what I want to do here is build up depth. I want those natural colors that will be the foundation here, and then that will feel like the deep colors within the reflective nature of the materials I'm going to paint. AKA, this is to start all the contrast, and I'm going to build up from here. After this, I'm going to go with a really heavy, really heavy dry brush of gray. That's more with what you're expecting to see here, and from there, I'm going to start building up in lighter and lighter dry brushes, getting all the way up to almost pure white. And as I go through all these multiple steps, you can see there's just a little bit of interest, some shadows that are sort of inherent in these flat surfaces. And that's why I started with those funny dark greens and reds. Build up to get this vibrance. It's the same way that you would paint marble effects on stuff. You sort of glaze over the top of darker colors and you get this sort of illusion of depth within a simple flat material. But with that done, I go in with pure white and I just gently highlight the edges of some of the little tiles at the top here, just to make them a bit more reflective and give the impression that they're a slightly different color, like it's a different area that this is a part of. And just like that, the base is done. It's time to paint the rim black so it looks all nice and pristine, and then it's time to mount the models. All right. Reveals transition. Ta-da! The power of anime and sci-fi. The Infinity models are so cool. I'm so happy that I've actually gotten around to doing some of them. Tell no one, but I actually have some individual models that I've collected over the years and not painted. So this felt really good to actually get in on. You can see that, you know, they've got the huge inspiration from sort of cyberpunk anime like Ghost in the Shell, Appleseed, Pat Labor, all sorts of stuff. If you think this is really cool, go and check out some of their stuff. Post in our Discord, show us the stuff. Join the Patreon. You can enter in our like monthly painting critique. Go check that out. It's a great way to support us. Times are hard for everyone and this really keeps us going, so we appreciate any and all of you. Also down below is a link to the Sisters of the Old Blood backer kit, in which you can have a look at what we have to offer. Check out the Sisters and hopefully make a little pudgy wedgie. I don't know, I'm sorry. So, I've completed one. I gotta finish the rest of the box now. To infinity and beyond.